The data analysis screen is accessed through the main menu screen. Click on Analyze Manometry and you will be asked to select a study. If the list is long, you can type in part of the patient's name and only patients with that combination of letters in their name will be displayed. Either double-click on the name or select the name and then OK. When you have selected the patient, you will enter the main analysis screen. In this screen, the controls above the purple timeline generally modify the data display, whereas those below the purple timeline are mostly related to data analysis. The markers that were entered during the data acquisition are listed on the left of the colour plot. You can move between the markers by clicking on the text to select a different marker. The graph below the colour plot represents the pressures along the horizontal arm of the black crosshair analysis cursor, that is, a pressure time plot. The graph to the right of the colour plot represents the pressures along the vertical arm of the crosshair, i.e. pressures along the catheter at one point in time, or distance versus pressure. The pressure scale is shown on the right, along with a control to turn channels on and off, and a table of the distances separating the channels in the catheter. The position of the marker is displayed as a vertical red line with the marker text on it. The amount of data displayed before and after the marker is indicated in the seconds prior and seconds after controls. The default values for these are below, and clicking on default will reset them to the default values. You can adjust these to change the amount of data displayed if you wish, but there are more efficient ways of moving around in the data. If you cannot see sufficient text in the marker box, click on the E button to expand the text box. Alternatively, if you hover the mouse over the text for an individual marker, it will expand. Click on the C to return the expanded marker box to its normal size. In marker mode, you can navigate to any point in the study where you entered a marker. But if you wish to scroll through the study or examine other time points, you'll need to change the display to log mode. This mode is named because the data is saved in 30-second periods or data logs, and in this mode the data is displayed by time period, independent of the presence of markers. To change to log mode, either click on the button marked in marker mode or click anywhere along the purple timeline. The in marker mode button will change to in log mode and the colour plot will update with new data. The purple timeline shows the data from throughout the study. The numbers below the timeline represent data logs, so are spaced 30 seconds apart. The arrows at each end will move you forwards and backwards by one data log. The current first data log displayed is indicated at the right-hand end of the timeline, and the number of data logs displayed is to the right of that. You can modify the data displayed by adjusting the starting position and number of data logs to show. The period displayed is the data between the black and the red bars on the timeline. You can move along the timeline by moving the black bar. The red bar will follow at an appropriate distance. Alternatively, if you click on the timeline, the black bar will move to that position. In data log mode, all markers within the period loaded are displayed on the colour plot. Another way to move backwards or forwards in either the marker mode or the data log mode is to use the buttons marked backward or forward above the timeline. In data log mode, this will move you by the number of data logs displayed between the forward and backward buttons. To return to marker mode, click on a marker. Similarly to in log mode, you can move forward or backward by 10 seconds, or another value if entered into the yellow box, by clicking on the forward or backward button. When you do this, you will see that the seconds prior and after displays change. You can return to the original view by clicking on the default button. This is a reasonable way to move forwards and backwards by short distances in marker mode, for example if a swallow was delayed, but should not be used to move through the study. Other markers will not be shown when you move forwards or backwards in marker mode. In either log mode or marker mode, the display can be expanded to zoom in on a particular area using the expansion tools. These are located just to the right of and below the colour plot. Click on the expansion tool to display a menu. Generally, you will want to use the horizontal expansion tool, which is the middle tool in the upper row. When you select this tool and move it over the graph, you can click at the beginning of the area you wish to expand and drag to select an area between the two dotted vertical lines. Release the mouse button and the expanded data will be shown. To return to the original, click on Auto Scale Graph. By default, Trace calculates all pressures relative to a baseline value derived from the most distal channel, channel 16. Sometimes this channel has significant artifact and you may wish to use a different channel to generate the intragastric baseline pressure. Adjust the control marked reference channel to select a different channel. When Trace detects that the subject is upright, by finding the word upright in the marker text, it will automatically apply hydrostatic offset pressures to account for this. This function is controlled by the button marked Auto Adjust when upright on the right. You'll notice that when the subject is upright, the pull-down menu below this indicates that hydrostatic offsets are being used. If you click on the button marked Auto Adjust when upright, you will be able to control this function manually. You can then pull down on the menu to select which offsets, if any, to remove. If you wish, you can display the data in conventional line plot format by clicking on the button marked Colour Plot. This will change to Line Plot and a conventional line plot display will appear. You can move between swallows and display data in a similar way to the colour plot, but analysis features are much more limited. Another time that the line plot display may be used is to remove offsets that have developed during a study. For example, if the catheter was not properly cleared of bubbles before a study started. Locate the underwater perfusion at the end of the study and select a point at which the offsets you wish to use are stable. If you then click on Set Offsets Now, the instantaneous values in all channels will be available to you to remove as an offset. These offsets can be removed in addition to the hydrostatic offsets by making an appropriate selection from the pull-down menu.